शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु मामवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया स्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 So in this fourth Shanti mantra, Sage Trishanku had declared that I am beautiful and immortal like the essence present within the sun. That is the idea of worshipping, venerating, meditating on the sun, so that this external light which is present in front of us, to treat it as a symbol, as a pratika. Pratika means, the Sanskrit word for symbol is pratika. Pratika means that which helps us to get closer. So that's what a symbol does. As a symbol, this external light of the sun, by understanding it, by meditating on it, it takes us closer to the internal light of consciousness, to the light that is present within the hearts of all beings. So this was the discussion that we had in our previous session. Today we want to concentrate completely on the 12 mantras of the Surya-Namaskara, of the Sun Salutation. First of all, a little bit of the history, just very briefly. History in India is a recent concept. Whenever we deal with history in India, we have to keep this in mind. I think the only work that was ever produced in India, which is really historical in nature, was, I think, the 10th or 12th century. There was a work called Rajatarangini, produced in Kashmir, which is really a historical work in the true sense of the term. Most other works have no historical that sense to them. It's more everything circular. You see, for example, Ganesha, the son of Shiva and Parvati, being worshipped at the marriage of Shiva and Parvati. In Ramayana, in the story of Rama. So, because everything is eternal. But of course, some modern scholars have tried to search a little bit about the history of the Surya-Namaskaras. The evidence, what the clear evidence suggests is that one king of a small little state in Maharashtra, known as Atha, which is around, I think, 150 kilometers south from Pune. His name was Bhavanrao Panta Pratinidhi Bala Sahib was his name. He, as the king of Atha, he was the one who really popularized Surya-Namaskaras. He made it part of the curriculum in his country for both girls and boys, men and women. Everybody was supposed to do, as part of their studies, was supposed to do Surya-Namaskara. And this is well documented, certainly. That's why this is something that cannot be debated. It is fully accepted. And it was partly through contact with some of his disciples, some of his students, that Surya-Namaskaras most likely would have reached Krishnamacharya in Mysore, in South India. Most likely. That is what historians like Mark Singleton in the famous book Yoga Body have stated. And that is well documented, this much. However, how did Bala Sahib, this Panta Pratinidhi, how did he receive these teachings? Then we get a little bit, things get more obscure. But there is, I was just in this I really wanted to check out myself, but this Encyclopedia of Indian Physical Culture, which was published in 1950, and the author had direct access to Panta Pratinidhi, to this king of Atha. And in fact, the king of Atha himself modeled these 12 Surya-Namaskaras. Pictures were made, and they were included in this encyclopedia. And they are the ones that you see in IGI airport. So they are from there. The king depicts the Surya-Namaskaras like this. Sorry? In the Indira Gandhi airport, when you arrive, if you see, then they are there. So he was the one who, first of all, was pictured doing these Surya Namaskaras. when the author of this encyclopedia asked him, from where did you get it? Now, this is not documented, but he said, and this is written at least in the encyclopedia, that he got it from the king of Miraj, which is another 100 kilometers south from, so something around 250 kilometers south from Pune. Where did that king get it? People in Maharashtra believed that these Surya-namaskaras were popularized in every corner of Maharashtra by one of the great saints of Maharashtra, whose name was Samarth Ramdas, who was the teacher of Shivaji, one of the greatest kings of we can say medieval times or pre-modern times of India. His master, he emphasized it a lot on physical culture. The belief that is going on, has been mentioned in the encyclopedia itself, is that Samartha Guru Ramdas used to do 1200 Sūrya-namaskaras per day, most likely. Huh? Sorry? 1200 per day. That is mentioned in that. I'm just stating what is mentioned in the encyclopedia. But that is how far back the tradition of Surya-namaskara can be traced. Beyond that, things get, again, we have no access to Samarth Guru Ramdas. We cannot go and ask him, from where did you learn Surya-namaskaras? But he was a kind of a warrior saint, a very saintly person, a very great saint of Maharashtra. His work, Dasabodha, the realization of being a servant, is a beautiful work. And he was a great devotee of Hanuman. And being a great devotee of Hanuman, again, Hanuman has all that, strength and tremendous energy. So and that is how he trained Shivaji, after which Shivaji became one of the greatest kings, and he established the Maratha Empire, which sort of then replaced the Mughal, sort of became very powerful at the time of the Mughal Empire, and sort of he was very much fighting against Aurangzeb, rebel. Yeah, and Aurangzeb was the king in whose time Mughal Empire expanded to the greatest possible extent, and then also shrank to the greatest possible extent, thanks to individuals like Shivaji.
Why Guruji has Hanuman on the top? So that somehow, the top of descent of the institute is Hanuman. So I was all the time wondering, but now I see it's a part of their...
Very much part of, and particularly, of the youngsters, of the brahmacharis, before they get married, 25. He's the Bala Vidya Nidhana, both. The deity of strength and the deity of knowledge, both. So even in Kailas Ashram, every morning he was part of the daily routine. Rama was not there, no one was there, but Hanumanji was there. So, like this, that is sort of brief history. About the names of these 12 names of the sun, which we are about to pronounce, they have been listed together in, again, a prayer to the sun composed by Lord Rama before he started his battle against Ravana, the demon king. So again, it is also a little bit in the context of fighting and battle. The Aditya Hridaya Stotra, it's a very famous song, Aditya Hridaya, the heart of the sun. And that Aditya Hridaya Stotra lists all these names. And if you just take them out and add Om and Namaḥ to it, you get this list of 12 names. So again, that is a very ancient thing. That is more than 2,000 years old at least, because Ramayana, the Sanskrit Ramayana in its present form is approximately 2,000 years old. So that is about the names. And then at some point, these postures and the names got united. When? Don't ask me.
You know what I was reading? It was Kashipa, that one queen, that one of the last queens before the Mughal Empire finished. It was Kashipa, or what was his name? She was fighting also.
Jhansi ki Maharani. Jhansi ki Rani, yes, it's very famous.
She also, she had her ladies servants, and they were all very much trained to fight. Yes, in martial art and all kinds to fight against the Mughals, and then later on
against the British.
The British.
Yes.
And so when it really came to the very difficult time, she asked all her girls who were like warriors, she used to ask them to learn yoga to defend themselves. And that was also Surya-Namaskara to get more
strength and all these things. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about these Maratha emperors is that they were very, very very open-minded, all accepting, all embracing, and very open towards other religions, towards other, At least when it came to religion, they were extremely tolerant. So, So now what about, because that question was also there, 108. Why 108? Why this number, 108? This number is the number that we have of all the malas, with which we do japa. Japa, which means recitations of the name of the divine light. See, the goal of japa is to attach one's awareness to one's breath to such an extent that every breath which we take in, every exhalation, every inhalation and exhalation becomes a mantra. And that is the idea of practicing with, which is called as ajapa japa, the non-japa japa, the kind of japa that is done without doing it, but which happens naturally, in which every inhalation is saha, that, and every exhalation is aham, I am that. Saha, ham. Saha, ham. So that is what they call the Hamsa mantra. Why I'm explaining this, a little bit of diversion, because the idea is to reach a level in which every breath, when a person is asleep and when a person is awake, becomes like a mantra. So now, how many times in this way, if a person masters this technique, this highest technique of doing japa very naturally, then how many times can a person repeat a mantra in 24 hours? That is the question. And the answer to that the masters have come is Shakshatani Divaratrau Sahasranyeka Vimshatim, which means 21,600. That is the figure that they have come to. And how did they reach that figure? approximately every minute we have somewhere between 12 to 18 breaths. 12 to 18 breaths. So let us take the number in between, 15 breaths per minute into 60 minutes makes 900 breaths approximately per hour, and then 900 into 24 hours becomes 21,600, which is equal to 200 malas. Now what the masters say, okay, leave out the night, just take the day. Take the day, 21,600 into half becomes 10,800. These are 100 malas. Now, as a beginner, the first thing that we can do is just to choose 1/100th of the goal, and then we get 108. And that is how the number 108 has come into existence. It is related to breath. This number also exists in Jain malas, in Buddhist malas, but there the explanation is slightly different. I think in Buddhism it's about the kleshas, 108 kleshas. And in Jainism, I don't remember it anymore. But the number is always the same. And I think this is a very Buddhist technique of using the mala for doing namaskaras.
Can you repeat? I followed you all the way when you say half the day, the number, but then I didn't understand why beginner.
Because half of the day will be 10,800. So that's 100 malas. Now, as a beginner, at least, let us do 1/100th part of it. 1%. And that is 108. So that is the idea of one mala with 108. There are other astrological descriptions and other philosophical descriptions as well, that number 1 stands for consciousness, 0 stands for the unmanifest state of existence, and 8, this number stands for the Prakriti, the 8 types of Prakriti that Krishna also lists in the 7th chapter. The 5 Bhumirapo Nalo Vayuhu Khammano Buddhirevacha. Yes, the 5 elements, and then Khammano Buddhirevacha, Mano Buddhirevacha Ahankara, and the mind, the intellect, and the ego. These 8 Prakritis, these 8 elements which form this body. So the 8 elements which are present in the form of this body, in its unmanifest state, and consciousness. So 108. The masters have explained this number in so many different ways. Namaha, we find at the end of every name, Om mitrāya namaḥ, for example. This namaha simply implies bowing down, humbleness, which bowing down implies humbleness. And humbleness has been given tremendous importance, because humbleness not only just simply by bowing down, but humbleness is about giving up the notion that I know everything. Yes, each one of us knows a lot, but none of us, undoubtedly none of us, knows everything. But what happens is that because we know a lot in one field, we develop that ego, and that ego then stops us from learning something new, from being receptive to something new. We hate becoming again a student because we are the great professor, the doctor, who has PhD, D.Litt, sitting in a preliminary yoga class. What is going on here? That doesn't befit him. That doesn't befit me. That sort of feeling. So till that is there, then receptivity to knowledge, receptivity to wisdom, openness to knowledge is not there. And when we become open to knowledge, the masters have always pointed out that when we become receptive, then wisdom and knowledge is all around us. We are in fact literally swimming like a fish in an ocean of knowledge, in an ocean of wisdom, if we would just become receptive. So it is the physical as well as the subtle body bowing down in front of that eternal light of consciousness. And this is also the idea when, for example, when we say namaste, when we say namaste, we bow down with the head a little bit and we say that the hands, karma yoga, pressed against the heart, bhakti yoga, and then with the head down, jnana yoga. With all these three yogas, my goal is to experience and to become aware of the light which is present within me and within you, within everyone, which it is the same. So I think with this in mind, we can start pronouncing these 12 mantras and briefly go through their meaning. Last time, no, it's not there. Last time I said...
it's in the preliminary course.
It's in the preliminary course, or you can download it. But they are otherwise very small mantras. You can just try to follow me. We'll pronounce each one 3 times. Om mitrāya. First one by one. Om. 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 Mitrāya. 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 Namaha. 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 Om mitrāya namaha. So Om, I bow down to Mitra. What does Mitra mean? Mitra means a friend. It is derived from the root mid, which means to feel affection, to love. The one who loves, the one who is friendly. When I was looking up this word a little bit, I came across this German word, Minnelied. Love songs in German, they are called Minnelied. Minnelied, yes. And it was interesting that it's yes, Minnne, Minnelied, yes. And in fact, even in English dictionaries, I could find this word, Minnesänger. Minnesänger, which in German is Minnesänger. Exactly. Yes. So that is how connections, because all these languages they have the same Indo-European roots, So it's the same Proto-Indo-European root there, as well as in the word Mitra. We bow down to the Mitra. He's also the deity of the day, and as a deity of the day, what we find in the Vedic hymns is he's always praised, a very specific quality of him, that he steers everyone into action. Before Mitra arises, the sun arises, first of all, everybody is asleep. And particularly if you live in the nature, not in big cities where everybody falls asleep a few minutes before sunrise. But when we live in nature, then we realize that how, as the sun starts to rise, the nature literally wakes up. Every bird starts singing, and it becomes beautiful. It really becomes beautiful. And that is a quality of Mitra that fascinated the Vedic masters. They called him Yata Yad Janaha. That's the Sanskrit word, yatayat, who stirs jana, the creation. The jana means to be born, those who are born. He stirs them into action. So that is one property of the Mitra, which has been praised repeatedly in the Vedic mantras. And of course, as the friend, that idea, why the word Mitra was called to him, because he was also worshipped in antiquity as the Lord of peace to battling parties. So if parties were battling, his presence was invoked so that they find a way to have faith in each other and draw a treaty and stop fighting with each other. So he was also that deity of peace. And we find such Vedic mantras where he has been evoked during such situations. And it is interesting also that somehow this is an unexplained dilemma, or I don't know how you what's the word? When you can't explain something very well, but it's just how it is. Yeah, we can call it a mystery. Yeah, a kind of a mystery that most ancient archaeological evidence for Vedic ideas are not found in India, but they are found in Mesopotamia, which is approximately in the area which is now Syria and Iraq, all that area. Anthropologists struggle a lot with this because there is no archaeological evidence found in India which corresponds to the Vedic teachings, even though the Vedic teachings were clearly composed in India, the whole geographical thing that has been mentioned there. To cut things short, what I want to say is that approximately 1300, 1400 years before Christ, Mitra was already evoked by the Mitanni kings in their treaties, and there is archaeological evidence present of that in ancient Mesopotamia for the same purpose for which he was evoked also in the Vedic teaching. So this is an interesting coincidence. What does Mitra teach us as a friend, as the external eye? Because in Sanskrit, the sun is called bahya chakshu, the external eye, because the Sanskrit word for chakshu simply means that which enables us to see, an instrument of seeing. That's all what the word chakshu in Sanskrit means. So this is also an instrument of seeing, and that is also an instrument of seeing. And that's why the sun is also called a chakshu, and this is also called a chakshu in Sanskrit, both. And so the masters, what we find in the Vedic teachings, such beautiful prayers related to the Mitra, Dhrute Drumhama, which means when I feel powerless, then give me immense strength. But for what? For what do you need this strength? This is beautiful. Because usually with strength we think that the moment we have strength, we should oppress. That is usually what we do. But here, Dhrute Drimhama mitrasyama chakshusha sarvani bhutani samikshantam mitrasyaham chakshusha sarvani bhutani samikshe. Give me the strength so that I may look at all with the eyes of a mitra. Means with the eyes of a friend. So that all may look at me with the eyes of a friend, so that all of us may look at each other with the eyes of friends. So this is how the idea of Mitra is incorporated into the Vedic teachings, which then brings to the idea of becoming Vishwamitra the friend of all. Vishwamitra, the friend of all, which is also the name of a seer. That's why we have Vishwamitrasana. And he's also the seer of the famous Gayatri Mantra, and also the master of Trishanku, the one whose mantra we have been studying. Now let us pronounce the next mantra, the second one. Om, 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 Ravaye, 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 Namaha, Namaha, Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Yes. My prostrations to Ravi. Ravi means the one who is glorified by all, the one who is praised by all. And this is indeed, if we look at all the ancient cultures, we find that the sun, because it is as the source of life and light, it has been praised in all the ancient cultures. The problem comes when someone gets completely directed to the physical sun and forgets what the physical sun symbolizes, and it should work like a mirror to bring our awareness back to ourselves. But if it doesn't help that way, then it becomes an idol. And then it becomes a trap, and it removes our awareness away from ourselves. That is when cults get created. So, but what Ravi means the one who is glorified, the one who is praised. In fact, to glorify in a very strong sound. And somehow, because the root, Ru, Sanskrit, which means Rauti, which is also sometimes used to pronounce the Vedic mantras in a very high pitch, in a very strong sound. This is again, it is beautifully related to the English word to roar. You know? So again, that's what linguistic helps us to identify these similarities between all the different languages. I only point out the similarities of English and German because these are the languages that I know, but it's the same with Russian, it's the same with Latvian, Lithuanian, several Slavic languages. There is so much similarity between ancient Sanskrit and all these languages. Even I think Ruma is related to the same Indo-European root. Okay, so what this name inspires us is to praise and glorify that supreme light, which is the source of life on this planet. So this is the second name. Then the third one, Surya, which is the famous name. Om, 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 Sūryāya, 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 Namaha, Namaha, Namaha. Om Sūryāya Namaha. My prostrations to Surya. Now what does Surya mean? Surya in Sanskrit can be derived from two different roots, and depending on from which root it is derived, it can either mean the one who travels, who constantly travels, never stops. That is our experience of the sun. But even a more beautiful meaning comes from the other root from which it can be derived, which means again to inspire. So the same thing which we discussed in the context of Mitra. But the word Mitra does not make it clear. The word Surya makes it clear. The one that inspires. The one that inspires all. And it is indeed this constant traveling of the sun Today, we know that we are actually traveling around the sun. But this is just part of the picture. The sun in itself is also traveling constantly. It has another center, which is the center of the galaxy, around which the sun is also traveling. So even if what we see is not really what is happening, we are traveling, but ultimately the sun and everything else with that is following that principle of constant movement. And it is this principle of constant movement that the masters have again and again pointed out in our body. All the different parts, they are constantly moving. They are constantly working. There is movement in each and every cell, then ultimately in each and every atom, and that is why we exist. Our existence completely depends on constant movement. And it is this constant movement which inspires the idea of karma yoga, that one, even after enlightenment, doesn't stop, but keeps on working, keeps on moving, keeps on traveling. So the idea of karma yoga evolves from there, and that is why the sun is listed as one of the masters of karma yoga also in the Bhagavad Gita, in the first verse of the 4th chapter.
I don't know the Latin name, but Surya seems so close to Surya, which is smiling in French, or sorridere in Italian and in Spanish. Is there any connection, you think, between those Latin words for smiling and the name Surya?
That I don't know, but we have a quite similar word in Sanskrit, smera. 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 Smita. Smita is the Sanskrit word for smiling. And there is even a beautiful mantra which Swami Veda used to like very, very much. It's from one of the Upanishads. Smera, smera, stimita. A beautiful mantra. Smile, smile, and become peaceful. Smera, smera, stimita. Smile, smile, become peaceful. Yeah, so maybe not this word. This is more, I think there is one Latin word, saltus, which we have also in words like somersault, leap, somersault, that leaping in English, that is related to this root, sri, to travel, that there. But this one is related to smiling. So coming back to the idea of Surya, again this constant traveling of the sun is what inspired the masters so much. There is one very beautiful hymn which inspires, it's a very beautiful hymn, which inspires one to work hard and to travel in search of wisdom. And Vinobaji, Vinoba Bhave, the spiritual successor of Mahatma Gandhi, my father's teacher, he used to, because he traveled 75,000 kilometers on foot in India for 25 years, asking landowners to donate land to the landless, to the poor people. And so he used to quote this mantra from the Vedas again and again, that Charanvai Madhuvindati, look at a bee who collects honey only by traveling. Charan Swadu Mudumbaram, look at a bird which collects beautiful, which tastes beautiful fruits only by traveling. Suryasya Pashya Shremanam, and look at the mightiness, consider the prominence of the sun, Yona Tandrayate Charan, who travels constantly and never becomes tired. Charaiveti, Charaiveti, Charaiveti. That's why one should constantly travel, constantly travel, constantly travel. That is the idea behind the Charakas, who used to travel constantly in search of knowledge. Patanjali was a Charaka. That's why his work on Ayurveda is known as Charaka Samhita, the works of Charaka. That is what a Charaka means. Vinobaji used to add something else to this idea of Surya as the inspirer. He used to say, because he was also an activist, he believed in activism like Mahatma Gandhi. And activism often turns violent. Even I try my best to follow the vegan principles, but one thing that I sometimes have to say about veganist advocates, that they become very, that activism sometimes, and this sort of creates an air of violence, which then is not the point. It should be done with love. It should be done with... And that is what Mahatma Gandhi's activism was about. When he was guiding activism in India against the British, it was peaceful. It was non-violent, not violent. Very strong. People were ready to get killed, and some of them did indeed get killed, but they would not retaliate. That kind of activism. And Vinobaji used to say that be an inspirer like the sun, not like the wind. And what he meant by that, the wind forces its way into our house. It will open the doors. It will open the windows. It will make a lot of noise. But the sun, it just waits patiently on the doorstep, doesn't force itself into the door, just waits there patiently, with a lot of patience. And when you open the door, then the sun enters. So these were the kind of ideas that we see how the masters developed these ideas in modern contexts, even in the context of activism. This is what Vinoba Bhave used to say. That's what I've heard from my father. Let us proceed to the next name. Om. 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 Bhanave. 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 Namaha. 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 Om Bhanave Namaha. My prostrations to Bhanu. Now what does Bhanu mean? Bha means light, and Bhanu means the one who emits light. The one who emits light, and also the one who enlightens. The one who shines, and the one who enlightens everything that is light, that is there to be enlightened. My father was given the name by his father. He was given the name Surya Prakasha, which means the light of the sun. And then my father's teacher, Swami Gangeshwaranandji Maharaj, whom I mentioned in the context of the great master of the four Vedas who traveled to Switzerland, I was mentioning the other day, him. When my father went to him, he said, from now onwards you are no more Surya Prakasha, you are no more the light of the sun, but you are Surya Bhanu. You are the one that enlightens the sun. So by which he meant that consciousness, which even enlightens the sun. If that consciousness, just think, if that consciousness won't be there, would the light of the sun make any difference to darkness or light? How would we know? It is ultimately that inner light of consciousness. The more we think about it, the more we meditate on this, we realize that it is that inner light of consciousness which enlightens even the light out there. That's why sometimes the masters refer to it as Jyotisham Jyotihi, the light of all lights. Or it is the light which is followed by all other lights, which enlightens all other lights. Be that light. Why should you be the light of the sun? Be that light which enlightens the sun. So that's That's sort of what he was trying to convey. So Om Bhanave Namaha, and thus because he gives light, he enlightens all, he also inspires us to radiate light, to give light to all, whatever little bit light, as humble lamps we have received, we should, out of compassion, out of love, out of friendliness, always readily share it with others. That is again one of the most ancient teachings of on ahimsa, on non-violence, comes in this context. Brihadbhir bhanubhir bhasan ma hinsis tanva prajaha, which means don't commit violence with your body against any creation. On the contrary, enlighten everyone with your rays of wisdom, with your great rays, with your rays of wisdom. So that was the ideal that was presented. And that is embodied in the name of the sun, Bhanu, the one that gives light. Next name, Om. 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 Khagaya. 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 Namaha. 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 Om Khagaya Namaha. Prostrations to Khaga. Khaga also in Sanskrit means a bird, and very often the sun is visualized in the Vedas as a golden eagle, as a golden bird. Suparna, the one with golden wings, So, but the very literal meaning of the word khaga, kha means space, heaven, space. This is kha, all around us. This is kha, space. And ga means the one who travels. So that's why khaga means the one who travels in space. And of course, we see the sun traveling in space. But what does the sun inspire? Like the sun travels constantly in the space out there, the masters always speak of a space within, which they call Hridayakasha. This is a very fundamental idea of the Upanishadic teachings, of the yogic teachings. Sometimes it is referred to as Hridayakasha, as the space within the heart, or sometimes it is also referred to as Dharakasha, as the tiny little space, because we feel it here, but the masters say that the name is very deceiving because it's just, we call it tiny little in the sense because we experience it here, but when we enter it, we realize that it is as infinite as the space out there, because everything that we experience out there, we actually experience it within our heart. And that's why everything that is out there is also in there, and many things which are not out there, they are also in there. And that's why it is even bigger, in fact, than the space out there. So, yes? Exactly. There are the masters, they speak of the three types of akashas, bhutakasha, chittakasha, and chidakasha. So, bhutakasha is this space out there. Chittakasha is the akasha of the chitta, of the mind content, in which the mind content arises. That is called chittakasha. And then if you free it completely from the mind content, and what remains is just that empty space, without any content, without any cloud, without anything, that is what they refer to as chidakasha. So chidakasha has to be achieved. Chittakasha is experienced by all of us. And that is in fact what I was trying to say, is that what Khaga tells us, like the sun is traveling constantly in the space. The masters inspire us to travel constantly within this inner space, within this space of the heart. And that is why in one of the Upanishadic mantras, for example, Atha yadidamasmin brahmapure daharam pundarikam veshma, there is a small little chamber within this Brahmapura, within this city of Brahman, within this city of the mightiest. And there is a tiny little space at the center of it. Tadasmin yadantaha, whatever lies hidden within that, tadanveshtavyam, search after that. Tad vijijyasitavyam, question that. So they inspire constantly to pursue and travel within that space. Then comes the next one. Om, 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 Pushne, 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 Namaha, Namaha, Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Our prostrations to Pushan. Now what does Pushan mean? Pushan is the one who nourishes. It is from the word Poshana. Poshana, which means nourishment. Pushan is the one who nourishes. And it is the sun which nourishes everything. It's very, very clear, very logical, because on this planet, it is the sun which nourishes life on this planet. Everything is dependent on, particularly on plants, because they are self-sustaining organisms. They use sunlight to convert CO2 and water into energy-rich carbohydrates, which all of us then take up. So it is rooted there. There are many beautiful prayers dedicated to Pushan, and these prayers have beautiful ideas such as, lead me to someone who can show me the straight and the shortest path and tell me that this is the truth. You know? So help, Pushan is often, the prayers consist this idea of asking to connect with the inner teacher, with the inner master, with that inner guru, the master of all masters, of which Patanjali speaks of. Some of these hymns, they also contain the idea that to be able to connect with that, give me the razor-like sharp intellect, so that the idea of razor, you know, this metaphor of razor has even been used there in these most ancient writings. So like this, with Pushan, all this comes. He inspires us to share, to nourish others by sharing our wealth, whether it is physical wealth or whether it is wealth in the form of knowledge, because it nourishes us. The next name, Om, 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 Hiranyagarbhaya, 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 Namaha, Namaha, Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Prostrations to the one with gold in his womb. Garbha means womb, and Hiranya means gold. And whenever the word Hiranya, the Sanskrit word for gold, is used in the Vedas, it is always about light. So as a source of light, light is present in the very center of the sun. It carries it constantly within itself, and that's why it emits it. So these are very elaborate ideas which have been developed philosophically by the masters in the yogic context. The time is nearly over. I cannot cover all that, but I'm just really pointing out the most important ideas that are there. And Hiranyagarbha is one of these ideas, because light is considered as something which is very purifying, which purifies. We'll see that also in the next names. The idea is that as parts of that sun, we have that light within ourselves, but just the process to make it clear and evident has not started yet. Yoga starts it. That is why the yogic masters, they would say that nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. Yes, there is nothing as purifying as wisdom in this world. And where is that wisdom to be found? Now the question comes, where is that wisdom to be found? They wouldn't say that in the Gita or in the Upanishads or in the Vedas. No. Sattvayam yoga samsiddha. When someone acquires perfection through yoga, kalena, with time, he or she finds that wisdom within themselves. Atmani vindati. They find it within themselves because it is already present. We are already carrying it within ourselves. But in some other places, the masters give this example of, every drop of milk has butter in it, has ghee in it. But one has to make tremendous effort. And there are techniques to churn it out. And then you have to make it into ghee. And when you make it into ghee, here it is. You can burn it in a lamp. It is pure light. You can burn it in a lamp. But where was it? Mixed with water. But it has to be churned out. The same thing, what is the churning stick here? Our body and our mind is the churning stick here for the masters, through which we churn ourselves, and then that wisdom becomes manifest in our life. That light becomes manifest. Matter is nothing but energy, but a process has to start for the sun to emit light. It has to fall upon itself. Isn't it amazing how, just look at it, matter has to collapse and has to first of all, this matter, this is before the solar system came into existence. What do we read? Matter was everywhere around, and then so slowly it became centered. And when it became centered, then because of gravity, it started collapsing on each other, and that is when light started to be produced. Isn't this exactly what is happening with yoga? We sort of start to churn ourselves and then become more and more centered. And that's why yoga is not about not working, but yoga is about working so hard that we can reach the center. Okay, the next name. Om Marichaye, 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 Namaha. Prostrations to Marichi. Marichi means, now here, destroyer. Light is not everything about beautiful. There is also another side of it. It can destroy. But what does it destroy? It destroys darkness. It destroys, and similarly, the light of wisdom destroys the darkness of ignorance. That is the idea. Another thing that also the word marichi, because it is the same mar, that root, mar, in mrityu, in death, the one that kills, the one that destroys. What does he destroy? Also the same thing is there in Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargaha, the one who roasts away the impurities. That is what light does. The ancient masters say that the light which kshudrajantavaha, which destroys the harmful tiny little creatures which are harmful to our existence. Light also destroys that. We can call them pathogens. Pathogens. They are destroyed by light. Should the sun not rise one day, there will be so many pathogens in this environment that we won't be able to exist. So similarly, the light of wisdom destroys the darkness of ignorance and also the vices which come into existence as a result of that darkness of ignorance, which is ego, which is selfish attachment, which is hatred, which is fear. All the kleshas that Patanjali speaks of. They are the vices. So this is an internal understanding of the word Marichi. Now the next name, I love it, because it's about the universal mother. The sun is worshipped as the sun, S-O-N, child. The sun is worshipped as the son, i.e. child, of Aditi, the universal mother. Let us pronounce that name. Om Adityaya 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 Namaha. Prostrations to the son of Aditi. Aditi, she is the universal mother, Mother Nature. We can call her Mother Nature, we can call her Prakriti. And in the Vedic teachings, she is always on the same level with Purusha. Consciousness, matter, Prakriti, these two. Aditi, in the Vedas, she is referred to as Aditi, Purusha. In the hymns to Purusha, the masters say the same thing. Purusha is everything that came into existence. Purusha is everything that will come into existence. Similarly, in the hymns of Aditi, we find the same thing. Aditi, Aditir Dyaur, Aditir Antariksham, Aditi is heaven, Aditi is space, Aditir Dyaur, Aditir Antariksham, Aditir Mata, she is the mother. She is not only the mother, she is also the father. She is not only the mother and the father, but she is also the child. She is everything. Sa mata, sa pita, sa putraha, vishve deva aditihi. All radiant beings are nothing which we worship. All those radiant beings are nothing but manifestations of that Aditi. Vishve deva aditir jatam, everything that came into existence and everything that will come into existence is Aditi. So Aditi is everything. Yes. Sorry? Above Brahma. Above Brahma. Yes. You cannot have Brahma without Aditi. She is the mother. She is in fact the mother of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. All these three. She is the mother of all these three. You cannot have Brahma without Aditi. It's not. There is a beautiful picture. If you Google Aditi, most likely on the internet, this is my favorite picture. Aditi as the Divine Mother and Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, all these three, the force of creation, sustenance and destruction, all these three forces, they are arising from her heart. It's a beautiful picture. Yes?
Our prostration to the son of Aditi.
Child of Aditi. Because this son, he is the child of Aditi. She is his mother. But something is still in store about Aditi. The beautiful meaning of the word Aditi itself. Aditi means complete. Aditi means in which there are no divisions. And the beautiful thing is that in the Vedic traditions, demons are referred to as the children of Diti, and the radiant beings, the devas, the gods, they are referred to as the children of Aditi. Aditi means complete, undivided, and Diti means divided, division. You can process that further. It's a beautiful idea because it again brings us back to the idea of yoga, to raise above all divisions which we have created. When we become children of those divisions, we become daityas, demons. The moment we start considering our divisions, I'm Indian, you are, that sort of I belong to this race, you belong to that race, I belong to this religion, you belong to that religion. Then we have created divisions.
Is body word deity is similar with that?
Which one?
The body word deity.
Pali, same. Pali, exactly the same. Yes, because again, in the Buddha also, the word Aditya and Daitya is, yes. Sorry?
Deity is wrong view.
Which?
The body word deity is wrong view.
No. Then maybe the pronunciation is not clicking with me. Wrong view. What's the Pali word for wrong view? I can't remember now. Sorry.
Here is like a similar meaning.
Possible. I have to say. But again, that is why the word Aditya is such a beautiful word, which really, because it brings to the forefront again the idea of the yogic masters that he belongs to us and he belongs to others. This is the consideration of those with a small heart, those whose heart is expanded. For them, the whole earth is like a single family. One of the Upanishads. Next name, Om. Savitre. Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Savitre simply means creator. It can be translated as father. The problem with the word father is that father is related to the Sanskrit word pitar. And pitar is not the same as Savitri. Let me explain the difference between pitar and Savitri, between the Sanskrit word for father and Savitri. We can call the Sanskrit word pitri, which is in Hindi is pita, father. In fact, most of the relationship terms in English and brother, sister, mother, father, they have all clear Sanskrit equivalents. Sister is swasri, swasar in Sanskrit, shveshtar, like in German, and brother is bharatri in Sanskrit, father is pitri in Sanskrit, and mother is matri in Sanskrit. However, in Sanskrit, the word pitri can be used for any elder person, because ultimately what the word pitri means is protector, someone who protects. But it does not have that strong sense of a genetic father, who has produced us, literally produced us. But the word Savitri is the one that has literally given birth to us. That kind of father. That can only be one. Even in English language, for example, we use the word father also for a priest, So you can use it quite freely. You don't have to use it only for your father. But in the same way in Sanskrit also that difference is there. But the word Savitri is a kind of word which can only be used. So this is a very intimate relationship of devotion that the master is experiencing with the sun, with that source of light. A very, very intimate relationship. A lot can be said on this, but let us proceed to the next one. Om. Arkaya. Namaha. Om Arkaya Namaha. For the Upanishadic masters, this intimate relationship also with the sun, it explained why if somebody is running into the north, it feels as if the sun is also. Have you experienced that? In a train, if you are traveling from north to south, then the sun also feels like following you. At the same time, if somebody is traveling from south to north, he would feel the same thing. That is how we, it feels like the masters, in one of the Upanishadic teachings, the masters, they say everybody feels with the sun that mam prati, that the sun is giving light to me. This very intimate relationship was very important for them. And that sort of explains, why several masters, they have had this intimate relationship with also the divine light. Arka, now this word that we just pronounced, Arka means the one which ought to be worshipped. Archa means to worship. The one that ought to be worshipped. Now, why does a yogi worship? That's the big question that should be asked. Usually the moment we use the word worship, we think of pleasing someone. We have to worship someone because we have to please. But in the yogic context, that idea does not exist. We don't worship something or someone to please that entity, but to become like it. We worship it, we meditate on it. Worship is an external form of meditation, and meditation is more an internal form of worship. That's why in Sanskrit we don't have two words. Upasana is also worship, and upasana is also meditation. It simply means to sit close. To sit close. Asana, same. Upasana, asana, like the famous word asana, upasana. So to sit close, that is the word which is translated either as worship or either as meditation. So why do we do upasana? So that we become like it. At least first, in the designated moments of worship, we attempt to become like the object of our worship, and ultimately in every part of our life. This is also what we find, paramam samyam upaiti, in the context of devotees, he becomes completely the same like the object of his devotion. So it's always that idea, not to please something out there. The universe is complete, it doesn't need to be pleased. We are the ones who are lacking something. We are the ones who are troubled with desire, with trishna, not the universe. We are the ones who need to be pleased and nothing else. And that's why worship is all about becoming like the object of our worship. The last one, the 12th one is Om Bhaskaraya, 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 Namaha. Prostrations to Bhaskara. Bhaskara means the one who produces light. Kara means to make, to produce, and Bhas means light. Someone who is actively, constantly engaged in producing light, in giving light, in destroying darkness, every single second of its life. That is called Bhaskara. And that is the goal, to worship Bhaskara so that we can become like Bhaskara. This is what I also pointed out at the end of the previous session, why the masters worshipped the light, because Vaishvanarat Jyotir Bhuyasam, may I become that light which benefits all, which is beneficial to all. This also beautifully relates to the Sanskrit name of this country, Bharata, which means a country that at least is supposed to be constantly engaged. Rata is a very strong word. Rata is the same word for rati. When you are deeply in love with someone, it's the Sanskrit word for to be in love. It's in its feminine form. Rati. She is also in fact the wife of the god of lust. Kamadeva's wife is Rati, isn't it? So Rati is that, when someone is totally in love, that is Rati. And someone who is in love, he will be Rata. And someone who is in love with light is Bharata. That was the ideal that was given to this country when this name was given. How many follow it? That has to be asked individually. I think I just need to ask that question to myself. That's more than enough if I ask it to myself. I don't need to ask it to others. And I think wherever that pursuit of light follows, unfolds, there Bharata is there. It is everywhere. It's not a geographical identity, but it is a spiritual identity. Wherever that pursuit of light unfolds, Bharata is there. That those people are engaged because they are engaged in the pursuit of light. So in this sense, it is a very universal name. Boundaries change. They are for the politicians. But for yogis, for whom Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole earth is mother. That's why even the idea of Mother India, this is a modern idea. Today we see her in the form of Durga. That is a very modern idea. The Vedic idea was always Mother Earth. That's all. Why to cut her into pieces? She is my mother. She is you. That part of her is your mother. Why? Why to do that? It's one earth and one mother. She is our mother. That is the beautiful thing of the Vedic masters. Bhumihi Mata. She's Bhumi, Mother Earth is my mother. Putroham Prithivyaha. And I am the child of this earth. Who impregnated Mother Earth with life? The rays of the sun. So he is the father. The sun is the father. Earth is the mother. And we are its children. And with that, we are all beautifully related to each other. If yoga can take us to this awareness, if Surya-Namaskara, even a single Surya-Namaskara, one Surya-Namaskara can take us to this awareness, then the purpose of Surya-Namaskara has been achieved. And if that not, then one can do thousands and thousands of Surya-Namaskaras. But if still we are divided, still we don't have that brotherly, sisterly feelings in us, then Surya-Namaskara has remained what people truly say, sometimes completely physical. It has not changed something in our hearts. But the change has to come from tremendous effort, which is what we are doing. Hopefully 108. We have already done it. I could not do it because I gave up in between. Hopefully, I will have my New Year present from Mataji on the last day. Even though I have been called away by Swamiji on that day, I have to go away somewhere. But I will do everything to be back on that last day because I have to have 108 Surya-Namaskaras. He told me yesterday. But I will leave the program earlier and I will be here. Okay, sorry for the time, but this is the last class of this year. This year? I'm saying this year. No, we are stopping here now. We will not start anything new, we decided, or what did we decide? On that day we said because so we will only have the Bhagavad Gita course. No, because now it doesn't make sense to start a new mantra just for 1 or 2 days. Then Mataji is going to Pune. After the Gita course we will start again. Yes, February, again in February. Because I have a lot of work on my plate, and I want to finish that a little bit also. So deeply enjoyable for me. Also, this is always amazing. But I think for today, let us conclude it here with the prarthana, with the prayer for universal well-being. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः विश्वशान्तिः। Thank you very much.